I'm Mike.
And I'm Adam.
And this is Stuff and Waffle. Two friends talking about stuff, and often as not, waffling with frequent reference to Bond cars. You will have seen in the news this week that there is a possibility that the original James Bond Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger, which was stolen, may have been located.
Yes, I did see that. You and I had a brief back and forth about it, didn't we?
We did. Exciting stuff. The article in question was a little bit vague about exactly where the car might be and who might be in possession of it, but they seemed fairly certain that it does still exist and is out there. They might shortly be revealed.
Yeah, they pinned it possibly down to Dubai, did they say?
Dubai, Saudi, Kuwait, and I think there was somewhere else where it might be, but it's all in that general area, yeah.
Ah, so where the money is, you see.
There you go. Well, it was always assumed that it was in some rich Arabic collection somewhere, and that it was stolen to order.
Well, it would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And you wouldn't. I mean, it's one of the most valuable cars in the world. It's been valued at nearly £20 million, and it's very distinctive, if you know what you're looking at, and would be extremely sought after. So, but you could never do anything with it. You could never drive it. You could never display it anywhere. You could never take it to a show because it would get spotted. So, yeah, it is only good for looking at in your own private collection.
Yeah, it's a personal thing only, isn't it? It's like you say, stolen to order, and for someone to pop in a very, very secure garage and go, I've got James Bond's car.
Yeah, I got the actual one. Yes.
Which, yeah, that's quite cool, but it's a bit naughty.
Bit naughty, and you are robbing the world of it. Although, as we've said, the car itself is actually a bit of a dog. It's pretty rough.
Pre-production is a very nice way of putting it.
That is a very nice way of putting it. It was, for those that don't know, the original car from Goldfinger was Aston Martin's development prototype for the DB5. It was never meant to work outside the factory. It was an engineering car. It was a prototype. It was a test bed. So, and they reckon underneath it was a DB4 GT that had, was heavily modified and turned into what became the DB5.
Yeah.
So, and it was so hacked about over the years. It was used for so many different things.
Well, that's it. I mean, because we touched on it before, haven't we? We've sort of said that it was a gadget car in the film.
Yeah.
Gadgets were removed. It was sold. Then someone bought it, put the gadgets back in it.
Yes.
Not in the same fashion they were originally in it.
No, they were quite different.
Yeah. And it ended up in the Cannonball Run as well, didn't it?
It was in the Cannonball Run, driven by Roger Moore, ironically. Yeah, the actual one.
And then
it was stolen. Yeah.
In 97, wasn't it?
97 it was stolen. It was at I think it was in Florida.
That sounds right.
It was at an airport. It was in an aircraft hangar. It was in a secure hangar, and it had been at a show, and it was being transported to another show, and it was stolen in the middle of the night from this hangar. Yeah.
And that's the last we know of it, really.
And never seen again
until this week or so, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's never been any trace of it. It completely disappeared. But we should just touch on the fact that to those that know, they will be able to tell that it is the actual one. I mean, obviously they can look at the chassis number, but I mean, that may have been removed, of course.
Well, the chassis number is widely publicized, actually. So
yeah, DP2161. Everybody knows that. I mean, it's in books and documentaries, and it's not hard. You just Google it, and it'll come up. So the chassis number. But there were certain things about the car that made it different. I mean, the most obvious visual difference was that it had orange side repeaters on the front wings.
Yes.
Just in front of the vents, which no other DB5 had. It sat slightly lower, and the wheels were slightly more outboard than the production car. The badging, well, they had no badging at all originally. It certainly had no DB5 badging. And then the badging was put back on it, and then it disappeared again. I mean, the cosmetic stuff kept changing because it was so messed about with.
That's right. I mean, like you showed me a photograph of it shortly before it was stolen.
Yeah.
And you can see in that the DB5 badging on the rear and on the front wings has returned.
That's right. It was put back on it. You can see the side repeaters in that.
Yeah, crucially, they're still on there.
Yes, but they weren't on it. If you look at Goldfinger, they're not on it.
That's right.
It had no badging originally.
No, the badges were gone, but obviously the side repeaters were there.
The side repeaters were there. Yeah, and it wasn't its original color either, because it was red, as Aston Martin
Dubonnet
red.
That was it.
Which was quite a bright red.
With a cream color for it.
Yeah, terrible. With a cream interior, light cream interior. That wasn't very Bond, so they retrimmed the interior black and resprayed it in silver birch.
Thank goodness for that.
Yes, but when it was a development car, it was red, and it did appear in an episode of The Saint.
That's right.
In red,
The Noble Sportsman.
Very good.
Episode. There you go.
Well done. I didn't know that. Well done. That's really dirty that you know that. That's very, very good. Ironic. It should be a Roger Moore series.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, it appeared in red, but wearing its original number plate, BMT216A, and then, Aston Martin were not keen to give a car to the Bond production.
It was bought and paid for, wasn't it?
Yes, they made them buy it at full price, which again was not a very good deal because it was a prototype. It wasn't even a production. But yeah, the Bond team got a hold of it, fitted all the gadgets to it, retrimmed the interior, resprayed it, and it was used in Goldfinger and Thunderball. It then went on a 2-year tour of the world, so it was on and off planes, on and off ferries, in and out of convention halls, and all sorts of things. It was used. It went all over the world doing promotional work,
which is odd because for the films there was obviously that car and a second filming car.
There was a second filming car used in Goldfinger and Thunderball. Yes.
But then subsequent to that, there were 2 publicity cars as well.
There were. They were never used on screen.
They weren't, but they well, I wouldn't say commissioned, but bought by the production team.
Yes.
For general use.
Or general promotional use, yeah.
Interestingly, after you and I mentioned where we'd like to go for automotive destinations, we were talking about the Lauman Museum.
We were.
The one they have there is the first publicity car. I did look that up.
Right, so the third converted car, effectively.
That's right, yeah.
Right, okay. Interesting. So, FMP7B, which was the second car, I believe is privately owned, but still in the UK. That sold for an obscene amount of money. I mean, hundreds of thousands of pounds. Not that long ago, actually, only 2 or 3 years ago.
I think I looked a little bit up after we chatted about this last week, and I'm fairly convinced I saw a bit of information saying that was sold in 2010 at RM auctions for $4.6 million.
Oh, right, okay, I stand corrected. Then I knew it had been sold, but yeah, because that also has gadgetry in it, although the gadgetry is different to what was originally fitted to the original car.
Okay.
Although that was built for screen use, it didn't have
gadgets
everything
at the
on it.
time, did it?
Well, it didn't have everything on it during filming because they didn't need it to.
No, it was for
only
driving, really, wasn't it?
It was for driving and long shots. I mean, it
Mm.
didn't have the roof hatch for the ejector seat. It didn't have the bulletproof screen coming out of the boot lid. It did have the revolving number plates, although I don't think they actually revolved. I think it just had the sort of big boxy housing that they put around it.
Right.
It didn't have the side repeaters because only the original car had that. In fact, if you watch Goldfinger, particularly the sequence in Switzerland, you can see the side repeaters appear and disappear as they switch between the two cars because they had both of them out there.
Mm.
They were interchanging them, and you can if you know what to look for, you can see in different scenes they're switching between the two cars, even though they were wearing the same number plates and things. But yeah, so it was given. Given to the Bond production. They used it in filming it, then spent 2 years going around the world. It was then returned to Aston Martin, which I always thought was strange. If Eon had bought the car, why
was it given back?
Why was it given back? Maybe Aston bought it back.
Yeah,
I'm not
still,
sure.
Why would they have flogged it? I mean, Bond after Goldfinger went stratospheric.
Oh, it was huge by then. Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't need the
massive.
money.
No, certainly not. I don't know why, but once they were done with it, maybe they thought they'd never use it again.
Oh yeah, that worked, didn't it?
I don't know. But whatever, it went back to Aston Martin, and the then managing director of Aston Martin ordered his people to turn it back into a standard road car and sell it as a second-hand DB5, which is what happened.
Yeah.
It was stripped of all the gadgetry. It had the roof panel welded back in, lots of things on it replaced and refurbished, and it was sold as a used car.
I know. I know the story, but every time you hear it and you regale it, you think, why did someone not really kick him hard in the balls and go, no, think before you act?
It's just bizarre, isn't it, that happened? And it was sold, and then I think it was sold again. And then the chap in America who bought it, I don't know if he knew when he bought it what it was, or if he found out afterwards.
Oh my! Can you imagine finding out afterwards, after you paid a standard used price for the car?
You realise what you've got.
Oh yes, we're winning, eating well tonight.
That's winning, isn't it? And he commissioned an engineering firm in the States to reinstate all the gadgets, but he wanted it he wanted it to be legal and running and driving, so they had to deviate somewhat from what was done originally, but also they didn't know exactly what was done originally. All they could do was watch the movie, so what they fitted to it was quite different to what was seen on screen.
It was vaguely correct, but obviously there's bits and bobs that were. I mean, there's gadgets that we never saw on screen, for instance.
There are gadgets we never saw on screen, and of course, as ever with prop cars, they don't really oftentimes do what they appear to do on screen. You know, the smoke screen was actually a prop man shut in the boot with a smoke canister stuck out of the rear light.
That's fine. I mean, you could always put your mate in the boot. It's not a problem.
Exactly. But yeah, it had a little revolving sort of little radar dish in the driver's wing mirror.
That's right.
It had a radio telephone in the driver's door card.
That's it.
We never saw that.
That made it to the Lego model, though.
Made it to the Lego model. It made it to the Auto Art 1/18
That's right.
scale
It did,
model
yes,
as well, but never seen on screen. You can see there's a scene which was actually filmed in Black Park, I think in London, was meant to be in Switzerland, where Bond is being chased by Goldfinger's henchmen, and he drives the car up onto a little mound and then gets out and shoots back at them from behind the open driver's door.
That's right, yeah.
And if you look at that, you can see the hatch, the little panel cut out of the door card.
For where the
phone goes.
Where the phone is, yeah.
And I think if you look closely, you can see a little bit of electrical tape holding it closed.
Very good. At least At least they colour matched it, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, but you never see him using it.
No.
But it is there. And if you look when he lifts up the sort of lid of the center console where all the switch gear is, there's a lot more switches in there than there are things that the car does.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of sliding switches, whereas in the second car, and I believe in the two subsequent ones, they were just little toggle switches. So that what was in that center console was very different originally, and then of course the red button under the gear shifter.
That's it. And the primitive GPS to allow a man to stop off for a quick run en route.
Hasn't been designed entirely for that purpose, 007. Yes, indeed. Yes, that's right. But none of that actually worked. It's all just movie magic, isn't it? And the ejector seat, of course, which would have set the driver on fire had they actually made it work.
Yes, having some rockets next to your face.
Yeah, be fine.
That'll sort you out.
Yeah, so that was all done again, movie magic, and fired a dummy out of the roof hatch. And, yeah. But that just illustrates this poor thing had been cut about so much and then put back together and then cut about again. It must have been in a bit of a state by the end of it.
Yeah.
I remember Desmond Llewellyn, who played Q, saying that he had to drive it once and it was a real mess. It wouldn't run properly. It kept stalling and conking out. It was smoking like hell. This poor car hadn't been run properly for years. And it was, it was in a really bad way, really.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because I suppose at the time they just didn't realise the impact it would have 50 years later.
I genuinely don't think they did. And the fact that they gave it back to Aston Martin would suggest that they saw it as a pretty disposable item, even though it had been on a world tour. And, everybody had loved it and paid to see it and everything else.
Well, that's it.
After that was done, they just said, "Oh well, that's that. On to the next."
Just dismiss it as go. Well, that's it. Paid its dues. So there you go.
Done with that. We're not going to use that again. And back it went.
And in fairness, we didn't see a DB5 until GoldenEye.
No, we didn't. They did stay away from it for a long time. I have to say, I think it's been a little bit overused in the more recent films. It's like every movie they seem to feel the need to wheel out a DB5.
It's for no reason. The Brosnan era was perfect usage. Just hints.
Just hints, and you got the impression that it was his personal car. And I think that's right. I mean, Bond is a bit of a petrol head, and I think it's maybe he, you like the idea that maybe he bought it off MI5 when they were done with it, and he's had it tucked away somewhere, and
that's it.
Looking after it. It makes absolutely no sense, of course, for Daniel Craig's Bond to have it.
It makes no sense. Yeah, it was wonderful to see it in Casino Royale. After that, it like you say, forced, I think.
Yeah, I thought its use in Skyfall didn't really add a lot to it.
No.
And that last sequence of Skyfall doesn't make a lot of sense to me anyway. That he would kidnap her and take her off to, kidnap M and take her off to his family home in Scotland and somehow try and protect her there. I think all that's a bit weak. And to drive up there in the DB5, I think, like you say, it all feels a little bit forced. They pushed the story in that direction in order to be able to film those scenes rather than the other way around.
And in recent times, someone, I can't remember who it was, someone I watched on TV was kind enough to ruin Skyfall completely anyway. Well, particularly the song, which I thought was actually quite a Bond song. But
yeah, I do. I agree. I think it's quite good. There are worse ones, worse ones.
Most definitely. But I mean, Adele can bang out a tune. I will give her that every day of the week. But
it won an Oscar. Let's,
But then someone pointed out when she sings Skyfall, it didn't half sound like Scaffold.
It does.
And that's it. That's that bugger. I've watched it since, and for
Well, she's sort of
Christ's
singing
sake.
Skyfall, isn't she? And it's
But
yeah,
having been told that, we sat and watched it, and I went, "Oh, bloody well says scaffold, doesn't it?"
Scaffold. Oh dear. Oh well, that's that knackered.
Yeah, enjoy that now when you watch it
Yeah,
next time, won't you?
that's ruined again
Yeah.
now. Yeah. The DB5 in that, by the way, that they actually destroyed was a 3D printed model.
It was, and we're very grateful for that.
Very
because,
impressive.
well done with your printing and well done for not shooting a real one.
Well, they are a bit pricey.
They
But
are.
yeah, they are. But anyway, coming back to the original one, if they find it, well, I think some interesting questions are going to have to be asked.
Yes. Like, who nicked it? That's a good one.
That's a good one to start with. Yeah, absolutely. If it's
Um,
still in one piece, which we assume it would be.
you'd hope it would be, but it's going to be very difficult to even call up someone that you know and go, right, I need a bit of work done on DB5, but you can't tell anyone about this, all right?
Yeah, that's going to be tough, isn't it, to find someone? Yeah, absolutely. So the poor thing probably hasn't run for decades.
It's going to be a dog's dinner of a DB5, isn't it?
It's awful. Yeah, I mean, it would have been anyway, but having possibly not run for 30 years odd.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not been for a spin since 1997.
Well, how could you? You couldn't do anything with it. I mean, I suppose you could drive it around private land, but again, as long as no one else was there.
That's difficult, isn't it? I mean, you're not going to get a Tesco, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't say so. No. No. And it's not just another DB5. It's the one. It's the
that
original.
One.
It's that one. And anyone who knows what they're looking at, even at glancing at it, you'll say, yes, that's the one.
It's got to that point now where whether we're talking about that one that's the real one or just a silver birch DB5, it's become unquestionably the most famous car in the world.
I think so. I mean, that was the title of Dave Worrell's book on the subject, of course.
That's it.
And it is. Yes, I think it has. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone knows what it is. You show someone a picture and they say it's James Bond's car. They don't.
Yeah.
If you don't like James Bond and you don't like cars, you still know what it is.
You still know what it is. Absolutely. That and the Back to the Future DeLorean, I would say, are probably the two most recognizable cars in the world. Yeah.
I'd say that probably DB5 edges it because it's got age on its side. It's been around a bit longer. So
it's been around a bit longer, and more people will have seen Goldfinger than Back to the Future. I think that's fairly certain. I mean, what's the statistic? Half the world's population has seen at least one Bond film.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. And as such, they all have seen the DB5 in one generation or another. Now, it would take somebody a bit more geeky about Bond to be able to identify the one.
But there's enough of us out there to be able to go, there it is.
Yes. Any one of us could be put in front of it and say, right, is that the real one? And you could, within seconds, you could probably say, yep.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Yes.
If this all comes out in a week or two's time, there's no chance of this car going back into hiding ever. In the day and age that we live in now.
No, that'll be it.
Once this out in the open, that's it. And it's going to be so nice.
The interesting question is, where will it go? Because presumably the rightful owner, or if they're not around anymore, their descendants might want it back.
This is true,
because it does actually belong to somebody.
Yeah, it belongs to the Florida chap, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I could look up his name, but yes. Now, whether he's had an insurance payout on it in the intervening years, in which case it would potentially belong to an insurance company, I suppose.
Difficult one, that, isn't it?
I mean, that's, in the run of the mill, if your car is stolen and your insurance company pays out and then later it's found, it wouldn't be returned to you, would it? It'd be returned to the insurance company.
That's right.
Because they've effectively bought it off you.
The thing is,
That'll
The
be
thing is,
interesting.
I don't see it ever being tucked away again. If it comes out, it's
No.
going to be someone's going to restore it, and then it's going to go on show, and we are all going to flock to go and see it.
Well, Barbara Broccoli's just going to offer somebody a sum of money that nobody in their right minds would turn down for it, isn't she?
Yeah.
And buy it back. So yes, and then it's going to probably go on another world tour, probably part of the Bond in Motion collection.
And well, then you think, well, if they get it back, there's a good chance that they'll chuck it in a bloody film.
It's got to come back on screen, hasn't it?
Hmm.
In some blaze of glory, not the fiberglass replicas that they've used in No Time to Die. It's the one.
The
If
real
they can
deal.
make it run again.
Well, considering Aston did those
The continuation cars.
That was it, the continuation cars. I think you'd probably safe bet to send it back to them, give it a little titivation, and
a little tweak there. Yeah. Well, you're not really messing with originality because there's not much of it left that is original anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no such thing as originality with that car. It's almost a replica of itself now. So, but of course, who knows what's happened to it in the intervening decades? Has it just been parked in somebody's garage, or has it been messed with again? We don't know, do we?
No, this is true.
It could be even worse by now.
That's it. We're assuming it's still in the state that it was stolen in.
Yeah, we assume it's still in one piece and it hasn't been stripped down. I mean, who knows? We don't know enough yet about what the information they're acting on.
No, this is true, and what we'll do is we will follow this up.
Yes, definitely.
I think we'll once we get a bit more info, whether it surfaces or not, we shall conclude this a bit. And
yeah, we'll come back to this when we know more.
Whether we've got confirmation or whether it's all a big ruse.
I mean, these stories have come up every so often that the one is missing. They sort of reinvigorate a new generation who maybe don't know what happened to it. But this is the first article that's come out that actually suggests that somebody knows where it is.
That's it. This one's got a bit of traction.
And isn't the guy behind it, he's found stuff that's been missing for a long time before. That's sort of what he does.
I'm sure I've read that because I've read it in various places, be it Drive, but even the Guardian picked it up as well.
Yeah.
There's a few.
It's going to be big news if it's found, and it is the one. It's going to be very big news.
That's all right. You see, everyone will stay tuned. We'll be on that. Don't you worry.
We'll come back to this one and talk further on it.
I have made an observation, shall we say. A topic that's close to my heart is the wrong phrase, I think, but relevant to me. There we go. Okay. As you know, I own a collection of golf bats and do enjoy playing the game.
It has been known, yeah. I have even joined you on, one occasion, I think.
You did. You attempted a driving range and did reasonably successfully. No one got
too bad.
Yep. No one got injured, so we'll consider that a success.
No one got hurt, and including me. So yeah, that's good. All right.
Job done. We had a pint of cider at the same time. Everyone's a winner.
Yes.
All is well in the world. Right. So it seems that golf gets a bad reputation in the car world.
Yeah, it does.
Possibly Top Gear related.
Possibly driven by some opinions that are well known. Yes.
Yes, from a man in a perm. Yes. Naming no names.
No.
No. And it made me think. When I arrive in the car park there's a worrying array of cars that I would deem unacceptable.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, and it got me on Google as well.
Oh.
And he thought, you know what you do when you start typing in and it starts to suggest searches to you?
Snowballs, doesn't it?
It does. And there were a few that really started to bother me. Because there were, like, for instance, there is a very popular search of best cars for golfers 2021. Best Cars for Golf Clubs UK.
Oh no.
And then one that really sort of got properly on my nerves, sports cars you can fit golf clubs in.
Yeah, well, I was going to make this point that actually it has driven car design in certain sectors. The Jaguar XK is entirely designed around being able to get a full-size set of golf clubs in the boot.
This is true, and should we mention DeLorean?
Well, that was played a big part in its design and it's some of its problems. Yeah. Insisted on a full set of golf clubs going in it. Yes.
Which is ridiculous because you think, all right, I put golf clubs in a car. And you think, right, the golf bag with clubs in it, it's an awkward thing. It's quite big. But, yep, you get it in there. Not an issue.
Yes, but you drive a Volvo Estate. It's not going to be a problem, is it?
No, it's not. And that's perfectly fine. You think, all right, say you've got your DeLorean or you've got your XK. You go, right, here's my golf bag. In the DeLorean, for instance, it's behind the seats, isn't it?
It's inside with you. Yes, it is. That's right. That's what pushed the engine right to the back. Yeah.
That's it. So you put your golf bag in and you use up all that available space. And then you turn around and you realise, oh, shit, there's the trolley for the golf bag.
Oh, that's not going in.
Yeah. Someone didn't think that through.
No.
No,
you got to rent a trolley when you're there. You're not taking one with you.
Oh, that's classy, isn't it? You rock up in your stainless steel sports car and you go, can I borrow a trolley, mate? Great.
Yeah, but surely the AA truck that you're on the back of is going to spoil the mood a little bit to begin with.
Oh, yeah, you get deposited at the golf club, then asked to borrow a trolley and say, sorry, have you got somewhere to park a truck?
There you go.
Yeah, great.
And can you give him some lunch? Because he's going to be a while.
Yeah, put it on my account. It's fine.
Yes.
And it just think, when I get to the car park, there is, I tell you what, that when you sort of assign points to go, well done, you've chosen well. It's what I look for is a shabby car in the golf car park. That's what I like. There's a few that rock up there in some shoddy vehicles. You think, right, there you go. You've brought that because you're sensible. You've come to the golf club. It's a rough and ready car park at best. You need a half decent sized car to fit all of the paraphernalia in. So when you rock up in a shabby estate car, I'll give you a nod for that, or an older saloon which has got plenty of boot space
with a reasonable boot. Yeah,
but I tell you what's worrying is it's a sea of SUVs.
Well, it will be, won't it? It will be. Although, to be fair, most car parks are these days. Because it seems it's what everyone's buying.
This is true, but I think the percentage is considerably higher in a golf club car park.
You're probably right, yeah.
And you've got all the treats there. You've got your BMW X3s, which
they're going to be all over that. Yeah.
It's just like, I couldn't really afford the big one, so I'll buy the one that's not much bigger than a 3 Series. Great.
It isn't very good.
No, turd.
Yeah. X3 is not a very good car.
Ford, whatever you say it. I think they were going for Cougar, but it just looks like Cugger.
Oh, the Cugger? Yeah, there'll be a lot of that.
Not good.
Allow me to hazard a guess. Range Rover Evoque.
Oh, there's been a few of those. Couple of Freelanders as well. Real lovely.
Yeah.
One of the VW ones as well. Tiguan.
Oh, you could be.
Is that one? Okay,
that is a thing, I think. Yeah.
I get muddled between
there's that and the tow rag, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry, the Touareg.
Yeah, great. That one's slightly bigger, isn't it? That one's essentially a Porsche Cayenne with a VW badge. No, sorry, no, it's not at all. My mistake.
Absolutely not. I don't quite know why all these luxury sports car makers have decided to do SUVs. I mean, they're all at it now.
Oh no! I tell you what, like we've discussed in recent times, or have gone back to Formula One this season.
Yeah,
the Sky Sports coverage during the ad breaks has now started to feature adverts for the Aston Martin DBX.
Well, I actually quite like that one.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
I don't know why. There's something about that one. I really like how it looks.
Oh dear.
I try not to.
No, you're going to need to put a cork in that. That's horrible. Christ.
I can't help it. I don't know why, but I really like that one.
Oh, go back and look at a picture of a DB7. Get it out your system.
I think it looks great.
Great? Oh, dear. Oh, good
I'm
heavens.
sorry, all right? I just do. You can't,
No, I can remedy this. I mean, I know your address. I can book you an appointment for Specsavers. It's not a bother, mate. Oh, my goodness me.
I'm not saying it's a DB7, but...
No, but you did say, and I quote you on it, the word great.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
And in fairness, it does great on me.
Great, yes. Different spelling. It's I don't know. That's the one that I quite like. I admit the rest of them are all pointless, but I do quite like that one. But I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, and I can't justify it. I just quite like that one.
You can't justify it, so that's good enough for me. You're wrong.
Yeah. I'm not going to try and justify it. I just like it. I like how it looks.
Right. Okay.
Chunky.
Yeah, lovely.
Anyway,
there
moving on.
wasn't one of those in the golf car park because I'm not that posh. And
no, you don't go to those kind of golf clubs. They wouldn't let you in. No.
No, I go to the ones that serve cider.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes, and have the car park made out mostly out of potholes.
Yeah, yes, this is true, but it is also made out of gravel. And Phil used to take just tremendous glee in leaving in the XJ40 in a cloud of wheel spin.
The XJ40, of course, is quite appropriate at the golf club.
Yes, I tell you what, you'll like this. This was when we, as Phil and another chap that we know, we sort of said, should we try a bit of golf? And we went, well, yeah, why not? Why not? But it's a bit of fresh air, it's not going to hurt. And you'll remember this because Phil was working with you at the time. It's when he did his shoulder in.
Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, he did.
So he couldn't partake. However, he could chauffeur.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So when we took up golf, we got chauffeured to and from the golf club in the XJ40.
Oh, spot on. Oh, that couldn't be better. That's exactly right.
And that is the perfect car. Bit ropey in the car
belong at golf clubs. Yes, that's exactly right. And of course, they have a huge boot. So...
Oh yeah. That's that right era of car where it wasn't like festooned with gadgetry or safety. So the boot was cavernous.
It was huge. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. The XJ40 was made for the golf club.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it did the trick beautifully. Yeah.
Lovely work. Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, the car park is not full of XJ40s. It's full of shitboxes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? I'm guessing there's a Lexus or two.
I wish there were. Perhaps in other golf clubs, but not this one.
Not in that one. No.
No, there's. I mean, all the BMWs are SUVs because I've thought, well, maybe there's the odd slip, but nothing doing. Not at all.
Not even a 7 Series.
No.
See, E38 7 Series again. That's spot on.
Yeah, that's perfect because if you've cared for that and you think, right, give it a clean, make sure it's nice and sparkly, you rock up in the golf club in that, and you're like, you've arrived.
Yeah, you own it then.
Yeah.
That is absolutely right. Yeah,
that's it. You get your trolley out, electric trolley, I'd imagine.
Oh, I should think.
Yeah, it's very, very efficient.
Oh, yeah. Yes, everything is perfect.
Yeah, it's just that it's not the case. I'll tell you what. One of us will end up with one of those, and we'll go to the golf club in that, and we can park basically outside the building. I'd say
There is a reality there that sooner or later, one of us is going to have to buy an E38 7 Series. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
One day it's going to happen.
After we discussed it for your potential new car.
Hmm.
I've had a chat with a few people off podcast, in person chats actually, and they've all
Blimey,
said
steady on.
they've all said he should buy the E38.
Yeah,
Every single one.
interesting. Well, is this people that have heard our debate, or that you've?
They've heard the debate. They've heard the particular episode where you listed your potential cars that you want to buy, and they've all said buy the E38.
Interesting. Isn't that interesting?
It is. It's the tomorrow never dies effect, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, we mustn't overlook the pull of a budget bond car. Yeah.
Well, as again, we touched on that there, and you think, well, we're particularly all the chaps that I spoke to. Brosnan is the Bond of their era,
Right. Yes.
so
yes.
that the force will be even stronger.
Absolutely. Even though it's not his best film.
No. It's probably the first film where he was better funded in general.
Yes, it's not his best film, but it's probably his best car.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? To say best film, I think overall World is not enough.
Yes.
But
GoldenEye is a close second.
Potentially the story in GoldenEye pleases me more.
Yeah.
But as an overall package, not as good as The World is not enough.
No, I would agree with that. World is not enough. It's very strong. The other
I actually watched it only the other day.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. It's
really good.
Yeah. Really holds strong.
You'll have spotted that Rover 800 police car then.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. After we discussed it, I spotted all of that.
Yeah.
And it was, I tell you what, actually, having watched it and you realise, good God, that was made in 1999. It doesn't seem that old.
No, it doesn't. It's aged very nicely.
It still holds its own incredibly well.
Yeah, it does. It's a strong story and a strong cast mostly.
Denise Richards.
There we go. I didn't even need to go there. But of course, we also have the introduction of John Cleese. Great shame we didn't see more of him in the Bonds.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, when by the time it came to reboot time, that did not fit in the slightest, did it?
It didn't fit. It was sadly Desmond Llewellyn's last film.
I mean, it was an unplanned that it was his last film.
Yes,
obviously, because despite him being an older chap, his death was still untimely.
It was an accident, wasn't it?
It was. It was the Christmas of '99, wasn't it, where he died in a car accident.
It was just after that film had been released, and you sort of look at that now and it's so poignant.
Yeah, and you think the way he departed his scene was actually really quite pleasant.
Yeah, it was.
And
it was beautifully done that, but completely by accident.
Yeah, it was such a nice way of sending him off without meaning to send him off.
They were planning to have him do the next one. But you're very sad that.
That was, I remember that. I think waking up one particular December morning going, that's just terrible news. That's awful.
It's quite upsetting that. Yeah,
I remember,
genuinely.
I don't know if this is true, but I have heard stories of when it came to production time for a new Bond film, and he was basically a retired guy and would happily come out of retirement to go and partake in the Bond film.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the story that I heard is he would get the call from the production company of saying, well, we're doing another one and we'll let you know when it's time to come and do filming. and they'd offer to send a car, and he would always say, "It was just silly. I've got a bus pass."
Wonderful.
I really hope that's true, because you can imagine him
true.
saying it.
Yeah. Never mind the chauffeur-driven Jag. I'll get on the bus.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, I do hope that's true.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's a lovely story.
I didn't think it was possible to like Desmond Llewellyn anymore, but that story may have done it.
Oh,
very good. However, we have drifted somewhat.
we've ended up at Q all the way from golf.
Well, that was me saying the E38 7 Series would be good at the golf club.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that's fine.
Steered us off in that direction. But it would.
And your point about cars being made to fit golf clubs, I mean, ridiculous. What I'm saying is you don't need to. I love a sports car and I love an estate car. When I go and play golf, you put them in the back of the big car and you drive that to the golf club. You don't need an SUV.
No, the golf car is an interesting one, and I think getting it right is something not many people do.
No, I think shabby and practical is the way forward.
Yeah,
I think so. I think be sensible about it, and all the people, particularly that Google search that I mentioned, sports cars you can fit golf clubs in. Just that's a willy waving competition in the car park.
Yes, it is, and a lot of that does go on at golf clubs.
Yes,
there are two types of golfers in my experience. There's the chaps like yourself who go along because you quite enjoy it and it's relaxing, and you'll have a pint and see a couple of mates, and that'll be that. And then there's the ones that are on the committee.
You say the word committee. That's all encompassing, that, isn't it?
Yep. I don't need to go any further with that, really. We must make a rule.
Is everyone adhering to it? Do a printout, put it in the foyer.
There you go.
Yep. There's your problem right there.
Yep. Somebody wasn't wearing a club tie at dinner last week.
Bird in hell.
Yes. Oh dear. Yes, and they're turning up in the SUVs.
I bet it's not even top spec.
No, it won't be. No.
No, that's it. Do you reckon it's windy windows in the back?
Oh,
is that even a thing anymore?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have snuck that in. Might have windy windows. Yeah, no heated seats.
You mentioned that about SUVs with windy windows in the back. I did see a Dacia Duster in the car park.
Oh,
that might have windy windows in the front.
That almost. Almost certainly. Yes. Certainly.
Dear. Do you reckon that's the chairman?
I don't know.
Do you reckon his committee status is trying to make up for his car status?
Oh, it could be that way round.
Yeah.
He could be. He's trying to make up for it in the boardroom. Yeah, it could be.
It's big, honest.
It's big. I mean, yeah, those do cost 12.5p. But they serve all the Dacias. They serve a valuable purpose.
They do. I'm all for that,
and I'm not knocking those Dacia or Dacia, however you pronounce it, because there is definitely a market for somebody who just wants a car,
and it's perfect for that. And it has. Yeah. I think it's got charm because of that.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. So I just want to be clear: we're not knocking Dacia in any way.
No, we're knocking the person at the golf club who's got ideas above his station.
Yes, that's right. Just want to clear that up.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you could well find a Duster there.
I did. Don't you worry. I just
you did.
Oh yeah, I just didn't have time to analyze its full specification.
No. Check the boot badge if there still is one. Yes.
If any brand's got boot badges, it'll be that.
A lot of them, I bet.
Not as much as a Chinese knockoff vehicle.
Oh, they love a serial number on the boot.
Oh, yeah. Catchy.
Yes. Yeah. This is the AB314/2-789.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
What, you mean the fake Mini? No. No, it's entirely our own design.
Ah, the Mingy.
It's just that.
Yeah. And then BMW sues the Chinese government over it, and they say, "No, what are you talking about? It doesn't look anything like a Mini."
Good luck with that.
Yes. Oh dear. Yes,
Oh.
you're going to get a lot of that. I'm imagining there's probably a Skoda or two knocking around in there.
Well, if Phil takes us, yeah.
Not anymore.
No, it's still with him, just not brilliantly operational.
He's not planning to keep it much longer, though, is he?
No.
It has some issues that I think are bigger than it's worth.
That's it. I mentioned it to him. I said, "Well, what's the plan for it?" And he said, "To drive it into the Tor," which
okay,
that's quite. And for
I think you might get fined for that.
You might get fined for putting a Skoda in it, but you more often than not see the odd turd bobbing along.
Oh well, there'll be another one then.
Oh dear! For anyone who isn't particularly local in our podcast listeners, the Tor is our local river.
Well, I think you've stretched it again there.
Local gutter, sorry, with
go.
water in it.
Yes,
ish.
It's quite
half brown. Yeah, not good.
Got a bit of a whiff on.
Yeah, it has a bit of a head to it as well, doesn't it?
It can get a bit foamy. Yes.
Not good.
No.
Oh dear. But again, miles away from golf cars again.
We've drifted. We're all over the place today.
Oh dear.
Yeah, this is I'm just trying to think of what else would be appropriate.
It's not.
I'm thinking a big Audi.
Well, if we go. Yep. Yeah, that's a nice way to arrive in the golf car park.
I think it's sideways, obviously, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's a nice way to do it. Yeah, I mean, you could get away with one of your particular favourites. You could an S-Type R.
S-Type R could work well there, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's good. That's good golf club fodder. As
is the XJ Sovereign of any vintage.
And I mean, I know we tried to avoid the SUV, but I'm thinking if we go back far enough and we go perhaps sort of either original Range Rover or P38, something like that.
Yes, absolutely. That definitely works. Yes.
Yeah. Nothing too modern. Don't want that.
No, you got to be careful over those potholes with the P38. Your suspension will be collapsed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you'll come out and the left side will be on its arse.
Oh, it'll all be on the wonk there. Yeah, absolutely. One of your airbags will have let go while you were having a pint. Yeah. Definitely.
It happens regularly.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
There's one up the road from us here. I see when I go for a walk that alternates between having its rear bumper on the pavement and being, normal. So I think he's forever the back end's letting go and he's having it fixed and then it's going again.
Oh dear.
Either that or some days it works and some days it doesn't.
Both strong contenders there, actually.
Yeah, it could be either of those, or a mixture of the two. Yes. Now the P38 is a delicate thing. Series 1 works extremely well at the golf club. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good look. I think that is.
Yeah, that would work well. I don't think anybody would object to that, be it a Vogue SE or otherwise.
Yeah, this is true. One caveat that I would put on the P38, having recently rewatched Layer Cake, please don't arrive in a yellow one.
No, there was one for sale, wasn't there, recently? A replica. P38, a bright yellow P38.
Honestly, who's buying a yellow one?
Someone who really, really likes Layer Cake and wants to pretend to be the worst character in it.
The Duke.
Yes.
That up. Yeah, that one.
Him. That's right.
Oh dear. Yeah. See,
what a wonderful film.
Overwhelmingly ridiculous he was. I just, like you say, just the worst character, but well placed. I'll give him that.
Oh, served a purpose. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, during the opening speech from Daniel Craig's character that we never found out the name of, he highlights the fact that in that particular sort of world of drug dealing, there's always that sort of idiot that you want to avoid, like the plague.
Yes, that's right. They don't mean to F up. They just do.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah, that was a wonderful opening. That sequence is his little speech that he gives is absolutely brilliant. It is the bookends, isn't it? Because it's his speech at the beginning and Michael Gambon's speech at the end.
Yes. Oh, such a good film.
Such a good film. Good car action in that as well. Well cast cars.
Yeah, proper gangster vehicles.
The Bentley Arnage.
Yeah, your Bentley Arnage, the RS6 Avant.
Yeah,
the
BMW E32 5 Series. Yeah.
7.
Sorry, correct. Yes, 7 Series. You're quite right. And the Range Rover. Yeah. All spot on.
Yeah, all very much of their time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really.
The Bentley still has presence today though. You see an Arnage out there and it's got something to it.
Yeah, and you think with Gambon in that, you think that was just it was beautifully cast.
It was.
Well, both actors and the cars.
Yeah.
Because what was it? What was his name? Eddie Temple, wasn't it? Because he had that ridiculous tan.
His Trump face. Yeah.
Yeah, he just sort of glowing in the dark.
It was so bad, wasn't it?
It was awful. You think it sort of reminiscent of that phrase from I can't remember Ben Kingsley's character in Sexy Beast. You got skin like leather, man.
He did look a bit like a satchel in that, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, that probably was deliberate because that's not how he looks.
So... No, it was on purpose and it was really well done, actually, because you think, well, actually, this is quite fitting. This is going to be someone who's going to be sitting on a beach in Spain for the majority of his year.
Oh, yeah. He's got it all planned out, hasn't he?
He is proper gangster and he knows exactly what he's doing.
He does. The tailored suits on him, the tailored 3-piece suits were perfect. I noticed that. That was really nicely done. But the Arnage was perfect for him.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect. But again, would make a good golf car. You could see an old Arnage.
There you go.
You could. Or indeed, a lot of the older Bentleys. I mean, a Mulsanne, one of the more boxy ones, you could see that at a golf club.
Yeah, you can get away with all of those, actually.
You can get club after club after club in the boot of that. It's huge.
I think you may have hit the nail on the head there. I think you might have won the golf club car park with that.
Bentley. Yes.
Yeah. Bentley Arnage.
There we are. Decided then. The best car for a golfer. Bentley Arnage.
Yeah, no, sort of early 2000s Bentley Arnage. There we go. Yeah. Right, problem solved. Yeah, all done.
Onwards.
What a wonderful service we provide.
Well, I think that's probably enough of that for this week. Check us out on all the various social medias and things. Thank you very much for listening.